coming up.
They feel let down by the system, and they feel disrespected and discarded. They felt that they should have gotten the courtesy and respect of the police department reaching out to them.
For Vault Studios, I'm Will Johnson. You're listening to The Daily Crime. The death of a 23-year-old woman in Bridgeport, Connecticut, has her family and the community asking questions. Lauren Smith Fields was found dead after a man she met online called police on December 12th. He said he awoke to find Smith Fields unresponsive in her Bridgeport apartment. Her death was ruled as accidental, the result of acute intoxication from a combination of drugs and alcohol. But the family is demanding further investigation into the cause of death and have hired an attorney to help them.
She didn't use drugs. Why is it showing drugs? Where did it come from? What was the origin of this? All we know is that 23-year-old girl goes to the gym every single day, doesn't use drugs. They didn't quarantine the area. They didn't collect anything. They're asking the family to say to them, hey, anything else we should take? And then they didn't even call Bumble to say, hey, this guy said they met this woman on Bumble. When did they meet? How long have they been talking? What have they been talking about? That tells me they have an utter disregard for this investigation.
Despite what you might believe, your weight is not your fault, even if you've been trying to lose weight for years. Meet Calibrate, the science-backed program that proves sustainable weight loss does not come from yo-yo dieting, calorie counting, or willpower. It's all about biology. The Calibrate program works differently by addressing metabolic factors with FDA-approved doctor-prescribed medications and one-on-one face-to-face coaching for food, exercise, sleep, and emotional health. Real support, not chatbots. We partner with you to help you take control of your weight and your health with tiny tweaks that lead to real results. In fact, our earliest Calibrate members lost 14% of their body weight on average. Fight biology with biology. Get $50 off Calibrate's 1-year metabolic reset when you use code SAVE50 at joincalibrate.com. Visit joincalibrate.com to see if you're eligible and use code SAVE50.
I'm joined by Gaby Molina at Fox61 in Hartford, Connecticut. Gaby, thanks for being here with us.
Thanks for having me.
Gaby, take us back to the night of December 12th when Lauren Smith Fields was found dead inside her apartment.
Well, when police were called to that apartment, to Lauren Smith Fields' apartment that night, they were called there by a man. The police report said that he was frantic, calling 911, that a woman that he was with was unresponsive on the floor. So when police arrived there, this man told them that he didn't really know her that well. They had just met on the dating app Bumble a few days before. And he told them that they had kind of spent the night drinking. He said they were drinking tequila. She had gotten a little sick throughout the night. But all in all, things were pretty normal. He said she passed out and he brought her to the bed, woke up at around 3 o'clock in the morning, noticed that she was snoring, didn't think anything, went back to sleep. But when he woke up at 6 o'clock in the morning, that's when he found her unresponsive. When police arrived, they said that they found her in a bedroom on the floor and she had dried blood in and around one of her nostrils. And based off that police report and based off what this man told officers, he said that at one point during the night, she told him that she needed to go get something from someone downstairs. She went outside for a little bit, came back into the apartment, spent about 10 to 15 minutes in the bathroom, which he told police he thought was strange, but he didn't really know her, so he didn't question it too much.
Anything in the days to follow? I know it took a few weeks for toxicology reports and a cause of death to come back, but was that man brought in for interviewing beyond that we are aware of? Where did this investigation go?
So according to the family and the family's attorney, that man wasn't questioned, and that's one of the many concerns that they've raised. Why wasn't that man questioned? They said that police officers just kind of took his word as it was and left. They ended up police taking her body from the apartment, and according to the attorney, they didn't notify the family that she had passed. The family found out through her landlord when they went looking for her after not being able to get in touch with her. So again, that's another one of the bigger concerns that they've raised. But as far as the investigation, according to the family's attorney, that man wasn't considered a person of interest and wasn't questioned.
And that just seems so shocking. We'll get back to that, the fact that they weren't notified and what the family and what their attorney is now saying about that. But let's get back to the cause of death. That came out recently, right, from an autopsy.
Yeah, so this week, the Office of the Chief Medical Examiner here in Connecticut said that she died of acute intoxication of a mix of alcohol and drugs, and those drugs were promethazine, hydroxyzine, and fentanyl as well.
Do we know if the man who was with her that night, did he mention any drugs in the apartment or nothing that he was aware of?
So in the police report, it doesn't say that the man mentioned anything about drugs. The only thing we know is that he mentioned that she went downstairs to get something from someone outside and then went back in and spent a longer amount of time in the bathroom. But according to that man, they had drank a bottle of tequila together. He said they were taking shots. They made mixed drinks after she got sick from taking shots, but he didn't mention anything about drug use.
And her family has been very clear that, as far as they know, she didn't use drugs, went to the gym, she was active, and this is all quite shocking and has made them really question the investigation.
Absolutely. According to the family and the family's attorney, she was, like you mentioned, a very active 23-year-old. She had never done anything to make them think that she was a drug user. And one of the attorney's larger concerns is that this was a whole mix of drugs, and that was just very unlike her, according to her family.
Gaby, the attorney has been very clear that they plan to file a lawsuit. Is that right?
Yeah, he plans to file a lawsuit against a few Bridgeport city officials, including the mayor, because he says that the city should have intervened. They've known about this for over a month, and they haven't intervened. And he also plans to sue the police chief here in Bridgeport for the handling of this case. Though Bridgeport's mayor has said that there will be an internal affairs investigation into that initial handling of the from the police department.
And the mayor has come out and even expressed concern about the fact that the family wasn't notified, right?
Correct. Yeah, he has said that he shares concerns about that. He is going to address that with the police department. Bridgeport Police does have that 24-hour standard operating procedure of contacting families. So at this point, it's not clear why they didn't contact the family. And the mayor has also, again, announced that there will be an internal affairs investigation into the handling of this case.
Gaby, what have police said about the investigation? Is it an active one? And what are they saying in terms of what the family is saying about the case at this point? Have they come out with any statement?
Any statements have been pretty vague, I would say. None really addressing the family's concerns more so than offering condolences and things like that. But just on the 25th, so almost a month and a half after her passing, they did launch a criminal investigation into her death, which is what the family had been pushing for since the beginning. And that was after the Office of the Chief Medical Examiner released the cause of death. So that's the latest in the investigation, that they are looking into it from a criminal aspect. They address the fact that fentanyl plays a huge role in the opioid epidemic and that Bridgeport is not is involved in that. And they're searching for answers now. The Bridgeport Police Department's Vice and Narcotics Unit is who is going to be spearheading that investigation, and they're going to be getting some help from the DEA as well.
Lauren Smith Fields was a Black woman, and I know members of the community are concerned about the lack of an investigation. Has race entered this conversation?
Absolutely. The attorney has expressed a lot of concern about that. The fact that this was a young Black woman who was last seen by an older white man, and the fact that that man wasn't questioned in this case. According to the attorney, he wasn't a person of interest by police. And the fact that the family wasn't even notified of her death, they just felt like they were being very insensitive to this family. And the attorney just questions whether it would have been different if this was a different person. He also raised concerns about what this means for the rest of the community. It's really disheartening. And the people of Bridgeport are really upset about what this means for them. You know, you never want to be in this situation, but you would hope that if you were, you would be treated with compassion.
The family attorney hopes to introduce legislation around that fact as well, right?
Yeah, so a state senator here in Connecticut has already announced that once the legislative session gets started on February 9th, he will be introducing the Lauren Smith Fields bill. And what that bill is going to do is it's going to set a standard here in Connecticut so that police departments have 24 hours to inform a family member of a loved one's death. Again, that was the standard operating procedure in Bridgeport. It didn't happen. So the state senator who's introducing that bill says that he wants to make it so that people who don't do that could be held accountable. So it's a whole procedure of an order of loved ones that should be reached out to. If you can't reach the parents, then you should reach the siblings. If you can't reach the siblings, the grandparents, and so on. And you have to make a documented effort that you tried to reach the family of whoever passed away.
Gaby, given the fact that the man who was with her that night was not named as a suspect or even a person of interest, has his name been released?
His name has been mentioned in the police report. Many outlets have chosen not to go with sharing that name. It was, strangely enough, I don't know if this was a mistake or not, but it's at the top of the police report and then blacked out in the rest of the police report. I'm not sure if that was a mistake or not. The attorney has named that man, though.
All right. An active investigation, so we'll see what comes from this. We appreciate your telling us about this and taking the time to talk to us. Thanks, Gaby Molina at Fox61 in Hartford, Connecticut.
Thanks for having me.
You've been listening to The Daily Crime, a podcast from Vault Studios. Be sure to check out our other podcasts, including Bardstown, The Officer's Wife, and our weekly show, True Crime Chronicles. For Vault Studios, I'm Will Johnson.